everybody. Apologize for any choppiness. Nobody's back connected. I'm apologizing to nobody. All right. Okay, well, we seem to be reconnected. The speed's a little bit better. So, you want to just pop in here for the people, and we can vamp a little bit while everybody gets reconnected.
Sure.
All right, give me a sec. I'll turn some music down, and then people can see our lovely, lovely aged faces.
All right.
Hey, everybody. It's John and I.
Hey.
But we're not in the same space.
Are we on?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, hello. Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome. There we are. I see it now. I could see it now. Hey, everyone out there. And we had some problems with our connection. As per the usual, with Comcast around 8 o'clock, they seem to eat all the balls. So, yeah. How's it going, Jesse?
Hey, not too bad. It's been a full day. Oh, it's dipping out again. Well, you guys are just going to have to deal. We're going to be choppy or we're going to be fluid. Who the fuck knows? Yeah, it has been a full day of business.
Woohoo.
And we actually did some good with the day, too. We had the 9 a.m. Inside the Box, which, much to my surprise, helped raise, so far, $60. You guys can still donate some more if you'd like for the... I have to pull up the thing to get the actual name of what we're donating to again. The COVID-19 Solidarity Fund. So the stream this morning raised $60 for that. The link is still active if you want to donate. You don't have to, no pressure. But yeah, it's been a full day.
All right. Well, good.
Yeah,
that's good.
How's things in the pantry?
Things are great in the pantry. I've got lots of potatoes. These were here before the whole goddamn breakdown of society. So they're probably not even safe to eat anymore. But it's great. Plenty of my roommate Katie made a joke earlier. She said behind me are her nudes. Of course, she's referring to noodles. Those are actually my noodles. We have plenty of delicious mayonnaise because I'm a white person.
Yeah, can't have enough.
But yeah, lots of that. Yeah, things are good. This is a nice little setup here I have in the pantry. I've locked all the kids on the other side of it.
Nice.
So they will not be bugging us through the show.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've allowed people to catch up. We can vamp a bit a little bit more to get everybody on board, or we can just roll into the program. It's really your call.
Let's vamp more.
Okay.
I this morning, all four of my children, well, all three of them and myself, we were all on in the box.
Nice.
Inside the box. We were having fun. They were divulging a lot of secrets about my disciplining techniques.
Sure.
And such. But yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And the Fill My Heart guys were amazing. That was a really great show at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, always is. I almost considered just rewarding myself with some more hours of Inside the Box here, but I think by the time we get done with this, I will have been here for about 13, 14 hours. I think I might just go home.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We'll see what we do tomorrow. But tomorrow, hopefully, the people that are watching, how about you put out another call for submissions?
Yes. Oh, that's right. So tomorrow night we've got our social distancing comedy showcase, where you record 5 minutes of comedy in your little space. If you have a little space like this, a bedroom, something not in front of a crowd, preferably, and then you could upload that or send that video to socialdistancingcomedy@gmail.com. Or actually, we've been having a couple people send it to our Facebook page. Is that something we want to do, Jesse?
Whatever works. I'll take anything.
We figured out uploading videos through that, or it's actually a lot quicker than loading them up through YouTube or Google Drive. So if you want to do that, you could just send it to our Facebook page at Stab Comedy Theater, and then we'll do that. But yeah, 5 minutes of material, not in front of an audience, and then we'll get you up on our showcase tomorrow night at 8.
All right. Well, we've made it to 10 after. Connection's still wobbly back and forth, but it'll do whatever it'll do. What do you say we jump in? Yeah.
All right. Let's start the show. Here,
right.
Would you introduce me? Give me a proper introduction.
Oh. Okay. I'm gonna go away. So there goes my window. Welcome to Stab Comedy Theater, more or less. It's time for Confessions of the Garbage People. Please welcome to the window your host, John Ross. John Morris Ross.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Confessions of the Garbage People at Stab Comedy Theater on the internet. What this show is, it's 6 comedians, including myself, divulging some very personal information about the shittiest thing we've ever done in our lives. But we won't be reading our own stories. What we've done, we've all written our own stories, and we've sent them off to another comedian for them to read it for us. And then what you do at the end of the show is vote for who you think which story belongs to who. So the way you'll be voting tonight is just mashing the thumbs up or the heart or the smiley face or whatever the fuck you want to mash when we get to that portion of the show. You're going to hear 6 different readers tonight reading 6 different stories about garbage shit that we've all done. I'll be reading last, so you'll get to hear how bad I read. So that'll be fun as well. But yeah, we do this once a month, or we try to do it once a month when we're in business at Stab Comedy Theater. So we may be doing it a little bit more often. So if you'd like to participate in this one of these days, you don't have to be a comic. You just have to be a shitty person in the past and a person that knows how to read, barely. So if you guys want to be a part of that, let us know. Send us a message and we'll get you on. But that brings us, we're going to go ahead and start the show. What do you think, Jesse?
Sure. I was just getting you in frame since for some reason you were leaning to your left. Don't move now. I've already fixed it. So just stay slouching against whatever cupboard or whatever the fuck you're leaning against.
It's a dryer, washer.
All right. It looks like our first person is ready. Fingers crossed.
All right. Well, let's welcome to the screen our first reader of the evening and our host of our Thursday night social distancing showcase, Skip Bacon. Let's hear it for Skip Bacon. I'm going to get out of here.
Hello, everybody. My name is Skip Bacon, and this is Confessions of the Garbage People. So here are a few instances of me being a complete piece of garbage. I went with a couple or a few because I'm not even sure what I'm about to write. I'll start in chronological order, so you can know the timeline of my shittiness and judge accordingly. So here goes. When I was in kindergarten or first grade, there was this kind of schlubby kid in our class who was a little slow. He was, by all accounts, an oaf. He was taller than the rest of us, fatter than the rest of us, probably older than the rest of us, and definitely dumber than the rest of us. By the way, I'm just describing the way I felt then. I don't currently have these sort of feelings towards special needs children, just to clarify. Anyhow, we were all in the sandbox one day and he was squatting down next to the slide, kind of like a catcher in baseball, but his butt wasn't touching the ground, but his legs were spread. If you were looking at him from behind, you could see that his squatting position caused a small gap between his pants waistline and his underwear. Upon further research, you'd be able to see that there were multiple holes in his underwear. Being that I was kindergarten, first grade age, seeing someone's underwear could be equated to somewhat of a scarlet letter. Your 8-year-old reputation was fuck all once your underwear was seen by anyone but your mother. So being that his gap was showing, me and many other children lined up, single file, behind him and began to funnel sand down his pants and into his underwear. If my memory serves me correctly, I don't remember him being bothered at all. He just continued about his slow business of homemaking, while the rest of us just continued to shovel fistfuls of beach into his backside as if his trousers were in need of a drought-tolerant landscape. The second story I have is well in the past, taking place when I was in 4th grade. My friend Jeremy and I were avid baseball fans. He loved the Cardinals, and I was a diehard A's fan. We would regularly go to the park and play home run derby, or try to fit into pickup games throughout the summer. The problem with baseball is that it's really hard to find a pickup game, so most days we would just resort to catch, or trading in baseball for indoor video games, basketball, or Jeremy's dad's porn collection. When all those options were expired, Jeremy and I would just hang out in his backyard bored. One day, we made our way into his dad's shed and came across a 5-gallon bucket full of range balls. Range balls, if you don't know, are practice golf balls. They're the same as regular golf balls, just a little more beat up, and they have a black stripe on them, indicating that they are only to be used on the range. Well, being that Jeremy and I didn't have access to the range or actual golf clubs to hit the balls on the range, we made do with other sports equipment. Being that we were too lazy to go out into the real world and put together a game, we decided to break out a pair of aluminum baseball bats and do a little batting practice with the range balls. So from the privacy of Jeremy's backyard, which was in the middle of a populated neighborhood, we spent a good 12 to 15 minutes humdinging range balls into the neighborhood. The reason that our session ended at 15 minutes was because after we'd launch a ball into a possibly different area code, we'd wait to listen for impact. For most of the self-induced hailstorm, we were hearing nothing. But on our last one, we paused for nearly 5 to 7 seconds before hearing the sound of definite car impact. The moment the sound met our ears was the exact moment regret poured into our hearts and throats. We scurried back into the house with no blood left in our faces and popped on the Nintendo and played Double Dribble, a game we should have been playing in the first place. Years later, in an entirely different neighborhood, my friend's dad was examining a dent on the hood of his car. The dent was directly on a metal seam, which is almost impossible to dent. They, for the life of them, could not figure out what caused that sort of dent. But I knew. Oh, I knew.
Hello, and we're back. Well, we're not. We didn't go anywhere. I'm back. Great. One more time for Skip Bacon. We're gonna call that story. What do you think? What do we got? I think we're gonna call it Sandy Crack Derby. That's what we'll call that story. Sandy Crack Derby. So remember, at the end of the show, we're going to be referencing back to these so you could vote for which story belongs to which garbage person. So thank you very much, Skip, for reading us Sandy Crack Derby. Our next reader, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Her name is May Flores, and she'll be reading all the way from Chicago, Illinois. Let's hear it for May Flores.
The worst thing I've ever done was when my best friend invited me to stay at his house for a week because I needed somewhere to go. And how did I repay that generous act? By jerking off on his bed and telling his mother he did it. All right, let me paint this picture. My parents had to fumigate the house for a bug problem, and that was this summer. So I was looking for any excuse not to be home. My best friend's name is Brad, and his family was like a second family to me. So they were incredibly kind and never minded me coming over all the time. I met him at some church camp thing years ago, and we've been best friends ever since. Now, this week-long bro-down party was gonna be off the chain. About as off the chain as a bunch of 14-year-old virgins with no money could be. But anyway, we had all the classics. I'm talking pizza rolls. I'm talking Mountain Dew. I'm talking about getting arthritis from playing too much Guitar Hero. And the only thing that's going through the fire and the flames are my goddamn wrists. Anyway, I was so ready for this bro down, but there was one problem I hadn't anticipated. You see, this was about the time where I'd awoken myself sexually, where the term horny teenager was an understatement. And I found almost everything got me going. I never beat off to like Miss Butterworth's bottles or anything, or even Macy's catalogs, but I never got to a desperate level quite like that. That wasn't the problem though when I was at home. I had an Xbox, and back in those 2000s, almost most games had some skinny big boob chick on the cover and stuff, you know, for reasons. One of those games that I loved was called Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball. And to my unfamiliar nerds, Dead or Alive is a fighting game about ninjas and cops and super soldiers beating the shit out of each other. Oh, and they also have like huge tits. But the storyline is about some serious shit. This ninja killed my dad. The asshole killed my father. You know, serious shit. Well, the creator up and said, you know what? Fuck it. Have all the girl fighters go to some island, wear bikinis made out of like fishing wire, and then, you know what? Fuck it. Throw some volleyball in there. No one's actually going to be playing the game. And he was right. I wasn't playing the game. I was too busy filleting my dorsal fin down below to give a shit about this chick's dead dad. Yeah. Anyways, so I ended up spending the week over there, and it was really fun. We ate all the junk food, stayed out way too late, and every night seemed like a party. It was on this third day when I knew I was in trouble. You see, I've been jerking off once, maybe even twice a day regularly for almost a year. To all my addicts watching, you try going cold turkey for 2 days, that third day is when that addiction really comes knocking. And it did. Everything was getting me going. I don't have my female ninjas there with their dead dads to get me going, so other things, you know, started to, you know, make you realize that even the thick Mrs. Butterworth's bottle is, you know, and dude, it got so bad that Brad's mom, who made breakfast for us every morning, started to look a little different to me. Like, this woman was almost like a second mother, and she started to look like the stepmother, if you know what I'm saying. By the fourth day, I was plainly losing it. Everything was getting my blood hot. The furniture, the IKEA catalog, some stupid dumbass commercials like Ruffles got ridges. Yeah, damn right it does. It was on the fourth day too that Brad had to go mow the lawn. So at this point, we have been playing a multitude of video games like Call of Duty, Fable, some dumbass racing game, and we were now on this game called Civilization. Now, Civilization is not sexy. Civilization is where you start from the city or the Stone Age and you build it up to grow it into some civilization. Again, totally not sexy. And you get to choose different leaders to be. If you wanted, you know, to start as Romans, you chose Julius Caesar. If you wanted to start as Americans, you can start as Abe Lincoln, and so on and so forth. And I chose Abe Lincoln. Again, there's nothing really sexy about Civilization or Abe Lincoln. He looks like a turkey and Slenderman had a baby. But in this game, they had the beautiful Cleopatra as one of the, you know, computers that were being controlled. Now, you know, I have no issue greasing my pole to polygons, but there was something about that specific model that got me wild. Maybe it was the 4-day withdrawals, or the pouty lips, or the way if you like move the camera just to the left, you can actually like see her cleavage. Either way, my brain put 2 and 2 together and said, fuck it, it's go time. And I waited until I knew everybody was outside of the house, or if I could tell they were approaching, and then I started, flogging the hog. My God, this guy. Do we have any drugs in the house or junkies? You know the feeling when you've been clean for a while and then you just say, fuck it. I mean, going from sober for a week to downing a whole bottle of mouthwash because that's all the gas station attendant will give you. Like I'm trying to describe this ecstasy that is not only doing something you're not supposed to do, but when you finally give into the craving, it is intense. And I was a freak too. I started like role playing in my head that I was Abe Lincoln. I'm going to emancipate the bra off of you. And then it started like this feeling, the feeling, guys. You're about to come, but you don't grab a towel or a napkin. I really don't know that feeling, but this is very detailed. But it's too late. It's coming. You don't have time or options now, so you just do it. And I did, right on his bed. And the feeling was indescribable. I felt like I came a little bit of my soul there, and I think I did. Because as soon as it was over, I was covered in shame and fear. What the fuck? I came on his bed and there is just like so much. And it looked like I dumped a whole tub of icing on here. And why the fuck did I do this? Immediate regret. Immediate. And I pull myself together. I go to the laundry room and guess what? Stepmom is in there. Fuck. Everything okay, dear? She says. And I'm like, oh, God, she sounds so sweet and sincere. God damn it. And I was thinking I could say the whole time, but my own mind's, I could be honest and I could, but my mind's only thought was like, just lie. Yeah. I was picking the room up a little bit while Brad was mowing the lawn, and I saw this on his bed. And I don't want to embarrass the guy, but I think he might have had an accident last night. Can we wash this for him? She looked at me and was like, oh, that's so sweet. Yeah, I'll take care of this. And don't worry about Brad. This will just be our little secret. Then she grabbed that comforter and threw it in the wash. I was safe. But thinking back at that time, it's really hard not to judge myself. I mean, I get being a teenager, but this guy and his family were the picture-perfect Christian family. And here I went for a week. I was a glutton. I was a sloth. I was lustful. But I don't think that's the worst thing. Not only was I perfect, but I was a goddamn liar about it. End scene.
All right, May Flores, thank you for reading for us. I'm sorry you had to read those words. You're so innocent. Yeah, that was great. I think we're gonna call that story Patra. That's I'm not an actor, but that was an orgasm. Anyway, I don't know, react on Facebook with thumbs up or smiley faces if you've ever masturbated to a cartoon. I don't think I have. Have you, Jesse? Have you ever masturbated to a cartoon in studio there? Are you?
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Never done it. Yeah.
I've never even heard of such a thing.
I do. I just masturbate to the old Disney ones, that are just like loops.
Yeah.
So you could
just
same thing over and
so
over.
much to Song of the South. It's
Wow. All right. Well, one more time for that story. And May Flores, thank you. Also, if you're right above me right there, there's our Venmo at Stab Theater. If you want to donate to us, that would be great. If you're enjoying the show, usually we charge about $5 to $7 for a show, but you're more than welcome to give us more if you want, or less. But thank you guys for the support by watching. Also, if you want to get a hold of any of the performers you're seeing tonight, you can go to our Instagram and our Instagram story. They're all tagged right there on our story right now for the next 24 hours. So let them know you saw them, and yeah. Anyway, we're gonna move along and get to our next reader. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to, I think he's in his easy chair, looking out the window. Please welcome to the screen, Tristan Allen.
Won't you please? Won't you please? Won't you be my neighbor? Hello, neighbor. My name is Tristan Allen, and you're tuning in for watching Confessions of Garbage People Persons Things. Today we're going to be reading Jesus Owls. This message is brought to you by the Catholic Church. Catholic Church, now with more body of Christ with half the calories. Are you one of those people that think Catholic school kids are the strangest, most cruel, and morally derelict human beings on the face of the earth? Well, let me tell you something. We probably are. Or at least we're really good at hiding it. Imagine a third grade me. Cute, obviously. I mean, come on, obviously. I'm in the crispiest, crunchiest uniform. My shoes are buffed daily, guys. Shit. I guess you could say that fit is lit. I'm going to stop now. My single mother worked her ass off at 3 jobs, mind you, to make sure I had the most wholesome religious education money could buy. When your mom works this much, you're left alone a lot. And trust me, a lot can happen when a semi-latchkey kid is left to his or her own devices. Dependably, my mom was there every day with her hugs and kisses and sent me off with a Moss lunchbox and a brass of hopes and dreams for what she didn't realize was a very sad and dismal future. But I digress. You know, it's kind of comforting that you can have a expensive religious education and life can still find a way to suck. It's kind of humbling. Yeah. As she saw me walking away, she never thought for 1 second I was trouble in the making. I mean, who would even know? Do you know what I look like? Do you see what I look like? I mean, come on. Come on. No one knew that I often made very, very bad and sinful non-Catholic decisions. Down a few blocks from us, there's a family who owned an ugly pet owl. Yes, you heard me. A pet owl. It was gray and about 2 feet tall and gigantic, and the scariest looking bird I had ever seen. Most kids look and run, maybe even ignore, but instead this bird would be my obsession. $5 as a Harry Potter kid. $5 a Harry Potter. I wanted an owl when that movie came out, though. $5, that same story. For weeks to come, I fashioned myself a homemade slingshot, which I'd perfected over time. I practiced hitting everything with it: glasses, cans, toys, my grandmother. I think, okay, this story's it might get a little dark, but let's keep going. And by the time we flash forward to the morning where the story began, I was already a regular David. Like David and Goliath. See, I got that. I got it. Never mind, the Catholic stuff just comes out naturally for me. See? Deep down, I'm a good kid. What a great example those Bible stories obviously left me. I mean, impactful. I had planned my attack. I would save this neighborhood from the scary owl with the piercing eyes who knew too much. The owl knew I would turn out to be a messed up adult I am now. It saw futures and it needed to go. Alright. So when no one was looking, I put my lunchbox down, grabbed the largest pebble I could find, and aimed the slingshot at the owl, who now turned its head completely backwards, like that possessed kid in The Exorcist. Its eyes locked with mine, and I almost hesitated by sheer fear of it taking my soul. I get it. You have to do it now. The owl called you out and called you a punk. He's like, you're not going to do it. They got to do it. They have no other chance. I knew what I had to do. The owl had to go. That's right. I refocused my aim and let the rock go. I missed. And then I missed again. But mind you, I did not miss a third time. Damn, that's a cold line right there. With a murderous scream, I let that pebble go, and you could hear that rock knock that smug, all-seeing owl off its branch, panting and out of breath from the sheer power released from my forearm. I wanted to see if the owl would re-emerge. I waited. But alas, it did not. And he shall never be seen again. Is it dead? Who knows? But you bet your bottom that this Catholic kid did not pray for its soul either. Fuck. Yeah, Catholic kids are crazy. Fucking reading this like The Omen. I don't know. Yeah. Guys, I've been Tristan, and this has been my reading of The Garbage People. Thank you.
All right, Tristan Allen. Very good. Very good. I'm totally fine with that story. I hate owls a lot. So I'm totally fine with it. And also, my apologies to Tristan. He was not sitting in an easy chair. He was sitting in a scoliosis chair. So I'm sorry for making fun of you and your infirmity. I didn't know you had the crypt back. So thank you very much for reading, sir. Appreciate that. And I was thinking about it too. I think I did give myself the old jerk and clean to Jessica Rabbit. I think I may have. So just to set the record straight, we're gonna call that story "Ow." Oh, I think no. All right. Anyway, we're gonna keep this show going. Your next reader did a brilliant job at filming. It looks like a fucking professor that's working right now in the educational field. Please welcome to the screen, Mr. Steve Ferris. Stephen Ferris.
Here are some confessions of a garbage person. I am a good person. I strive to be. I started doing yoga and meditation long before this was considered fashionable and involved spending hundreds of dollars on special outfits. I kind of fall in between the hippie boomer and the Pilates millennial. I went to India because I am a bit of a nerd and I wanted to learn how to be a better person. I spent most of the mid-90s in India in between undergraduate and graduate study. I would spend some months each year in the UK saving like crazy. And then the rest of the year in India, being that absolutely offensive anomaly, the white person on a budget, always haggling, always looking for bargains, always in complete denial of the white supremacist colonial history that made India accessible and affordable to begin with. I spent one summer in the mountains of North India, escaping the crushing heat of the plains. The small town where I rented a house was an old colonial outpost, what the colonial rulers had called a hill station. This hill station was characterized by having cheaply available accommodation, a language school where we foreigners could learn Hindi beyond bring tea and price too high, and a large supply of marijuana, which grew on the hillside, but which one could also purchase from one's Hindi instructor at the end of class. That summer, in the cohort of white students in the school, was a man named David. David had worked for a large finance company in New York City and had been blinded in a work-related accident. Shit. As a result, he was living on a very comfortable pension paid for by his former firm, and for reasons I will truly never understand, he decided to spend some of his funds traveling in India. To be clear, India is amazing, mesmerizing, beautiful, and hospitable. India is also overcrowded, chaotic, and difficult to negotiate by anyone with a physical ailment or disability. The mountains were perhaps more suitable, but still. In any case, he was there, and we became friends. David and I would do our language homework together, and while I enjoyed his company, I was even more tantalized by his seemingly infinite supply of weed. He may or may not have enjoyed my company, but what he really needed me for was to roll him enough joints to get him through the day and night. I would go over to his house, we'd get high, we'd study together, I'd roll spliffs for him, I'd leave. Shampoo, rinse, repeat. Fun fact, shampoo is a Hindi word. Look it up. After a few weeks of this, I began to find David's company increasingly vexing. He was self-absorbed and went on about his former life in the world of finance, even though I had no interest in it. He never asked me how I was, nor did he show any interest in my well-being beyond my ability to manufacture his daily stash of joints. I began to feel used by him. His financial comfort annoyed me. As I considered myself trying to make ends meet, I wondered how, if he had been able to travel to India, he was unable to roll his own spliffs. I would sometimes roll them with my eyes closed, as if to prove to myself that David was just being dramatic and merely enjoyed having a servant of sorts. All these feelings helped me justify the action I started taking on a daily basis. As I rolled joints for David, I rolled an equal number for myself. Every evening I would walk back to my place with a stash of free weed of which David was wholly unaware. I had traveled all the way to India to learn how to become a better person. I ended up stealing dope from a blind man. To this day, I don't even feel guilty about it, which surely evidences the true garbage essence of my being. What a piece of shit.
And that was the always funny Stephen Ferris. Very good, Steve. Thank you for performing that this evening. We're going to call that story The High Leading the Blind. That's what we're going to call that one. Remember that one, The High Leading the Blind, with Steve Ferris as the reader. All right, we got two more readers left. This next one leaps out of the Bay Area. Please welcome to the screen, Lalita D.
I had a girlfriend once. It didn't last long. This is probably partly why. One time we went down to San Francisco to do a stand-up show that I was producing. I had been looking forward to doing the show for a while, and also looking forward to eating at the taqueria across the street after the show. It was in the Mission District, so it was really good. She decided to invite her brother to the show so that I could meet him. She was really excited about us meeting, but then afterwards it got weird. He wants to go to another Mexican place that he claimed had really good carne asada fries, but she didn't want to go. So I said I didn't want to go either. He kept insisting, but finally gave up and went to the place by himself. She seemed a little shaken and said she thought he was using drugs again. We went across the street to the place I liked, along with some of the other comedians. We got in line to order, but then she asked if we could leave and eat somewhere on the way home to Sacramento, because seeing her brother had really upset her and she just wanted to get out of there. Reluctantly, I agreed, and everyone assured me that there was an In-N-Out burger off of 680 after we would have passed through Walnut Creek. The problem was I was tired, pretty hungry, and now also disappointed because I'd been looking forward to eating at this place for weeks. Now I would have to settle for In-N-Out. I managed to stay cool about it, which was made easier by the fact that I really did feel bad that my girlfriend was so upset about seeing her brother like that. My cool didn't last though, because after we dropped off one of the other comedians on the way home, we were supposed to find this In-N-Out. She told me to get off at this exit that was near the Martinez Bridge, but somehow I took a wrong turn on the exit and we ended up on a dark road with no businesses and only weed-covered, undeveloped land in sight. Not only that, but there didn't seem to be any easy way back onto the freeway. Later research revealed that there was an In-N-Out near there, but we must have passed it before exiting. Anyway, now I started to lose my temper because now I was tired, hungry, disappointed, and lost. Somehow I managed to get onto the 4 going east, which I somehow figured would take me to Stockton and then the 5, and I knew I could get home from there. I was pissed off and going 90. She told me that if we got off at the next exit, we could turn around and get back to the 680. I figured that if it worked, it would probably be faster than going to the 5, so I did it. It worked. We were back on the 680, but I was still pissed. I started thinking, gosh, this relationship might not work out. I wish I would have just stayed at the taqueria and eaten, since it was a sure thing. Then I said it. I said, I wish I hadn't let you talk me out of eating at the taqueria. Gradually, she started crying. I don't think we spoke again the rest of the way home to Sacramento. The only thing that might have been said was when we passed through Fairfield and Davis, when we passed the In-N-Out there. She might have said we could stop at one of those if I was hungry. I don't remember, it was a long time ago. But I do remember we didn't stop, and so if she did point them out, I probably just said I wasn't really hungry anymore, and I just wanted to get home. She broke up with me a few weeks later. In the times that we spoke after the breakup, she never mentioned this story as a reason. She mentioned other things, but I know this story was probably a factor too. The thing is, it doesn't matter. It was a shitty situation. I wish I could have handled it better, but that was the best I could do then, and that was the best she could do. And we weren't able to get through it in a way that fostered any kind of positive feelings for each other. It was almost like the world was telling us, if you stay with this person, you're going to find yourself in situations like this all the time. Yeah, I would add, when you're in a relationship and you find yourself going off on dark roads in the middle of the night looking for an In-N-Out burger, if that is your goal, yeah, time to move on. Time to move on, which is what happened here. I know this is supposed to be a confession, but what I'm really trying to say here is that even though I can accept my responsibility for my role in how this story turned out, sometimes bad things aren't really anyone's fault. I don't think it was my fault, and I don't think it was hers. It just was.
All right, one more time for Lolita D. I know that place that's in that story. It's a place, I believe it's called Taqueria Cancun. So we're going to name that story Taqueria Can't Go. That's what we're going to name that one. I think we should also have a British person read everything from now on. It's just relaxing. All right, so we have one more reader, and that's me. How you doing, Jesse? How's it going? What are our numbers
not too bad. It's we've been holding steady between 15 and 20 for the most of the trip here. Nice and good.
Well, that makes it so worth it. We thank you guys, everyone on Twitch, Facebook, and probably not YouTube. I don't know if we have any there. But again, just a reminder, if you want to look up any of the people you saw reading tonight, you can go to our Instagram story, and they're all tagged there. You can follow them. A lot of them do comedy, and some of them do other shit in their communities that you could follow that are worthwhile. All right, I'm going to go ahead and read the last story. How about that? Is that okay? Okay. All right. In high school, I was a volunteer for my church. I would volunteer every chance I was given, and I was an active member of our youth group. I did this all for the sole purpose of gaining respect and, moreover, the trust of ministry leaders in my church. The trust of the ministry leaders yielded a great deal of freedom for my teenage shenanigans. I was able to turn a youth group retreat into a drunken weekend on a riverboat casino without a single parent or minister being the wiser. A week-long ministry seminar turned into a week-long music festival for me and my boyfriend, fully funded by the youth ministry budget. And promising to lock up at night earned me a key to the church, was obviously turned into a sex in a confessional booth. Almost like Fleabag, sort of. But after many years of putting in my time at the church for these small freedoms and whimsical shenanigans, my time really paid off when the church started looking into what is called an adoration chapel. Adoration is when you take when you take a Jesus piece, a little piece of bread that has been turned into the actual body of Christ, and you put the Jesus piece out in the open on display. And since Catholics believe that it is the actual real presence of Christ, they come to visit that Jesus piece. People just walk into the room, bow before the Jesus cracker, and then sit with the cracker in silence for hours at a time. I was part of the planning process because to have the chapel, you have to have a volunteer in the room with the Jesus at all times. Anytime Jesus is out, a volunteer has to be there with him. So volunteers are needed to staff the Adoration Chapel every moment it is open. Staffing an Adoration Chapel did not seem terribly fun or like it would yield many freedoms for my teenage church shenanigans until I did some research in Adoration Chapels. I was doing some homework to make sure I wasn't missing out on any side benefits of the Adoration volunteer job before turning down the gig. My research told me that many churches had what is called the Perpetual Adoration Chapel. That meant 24 hours a day and 7 days a week, there was a chapel open with the Jesus piece out on display, and at least one person scheduled to be with that Jesus piece for an hour of every day. This piqued my interest and volunteered to start and to staff a Perpetual Adoration Chapel, with one stipulation, that I be the only person staffing the volunteers who would come in and present the Jesus every day and every hour. Because no one wanted to be responsible for this task. It was very easy to get full control of this tiny room that would be open 24/7 and completely under my control. I got to work staffing the daylight hours with the stay-at-home mom volunteers and every grandma within a 25-mile radius. The late nights and weekends were reserved for me and my friends and our seedy teenage needs. First, I let the local police know that we would be staffing the chapel and that any teenager on volunteer on the volunteer list would get a curfew exemption if they were going to staff the chapel, because religious rituals were curfew exempt. Once I let my friends know about the curfew exemption, I quickly began selling spots on the volunteer list. Then I began selling actual time in the Adoration Chapel for any and all the teens willing to put up cash, booze, or car parts in exchange for a little alone time to do whatever it is teens like to do when they're alone and unsupervised. The 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. slot was most popular for drunk post-party sex spaces. 3 to 6 a.m. was mostly teens who told their parents they were staying at a friend's house but needed a place to sober up before school, work, or going back home. And there were even a couple college kids who didn't want to have sex with their roommates in the room and were regularly buying out Friday nights and oddly Tuesday afternoons for sexcapades. Once the college market opened up to me, I believe I was the most lucrative teens in my high school. I regularly scheduled myself for my own personal time in the chapel, which led to one affair with Indiana's youngest but married state trooper, who I met while providing the names of the curfew-exempt teens, and numerous large-scale late-night underage orgies. Eek. Jesus. But just to be clear, I took my job as volunteer coordinator very seriously and made it clear to anyone who was purchasing a time slot that they had to stay in the chapel with Jesus till the next volunteer showed up. For the 3 years I ran this chapel, the Jesus Cracker was never alone, but I would say consistently entertained. And I was awarded thousands of dollars in scholarship money from my church and surrounding churches for providing this chapel for the 24/7 faith needs in our community. And don't worry, I used that scholarship money to earn a master's degree in theology from the University of Notre Dame. So I think it was a win-win situation for all involved. This chapel is still open today and has this chapel is open today and has been every day since it opened and christened with my boyfriend's best. Jesus. And like 3 hours after christened, I did it again with my boyfriend. Sorry. But it also is still open to all the faithful members of my church and home community. And when I go back home for a visit, I stop there just to get a whiff of the high school memories. And I'm sure if you took a blacklight to that place, you can get a full visual of the entire Monrovia High School class of 2002 and their memories. Wow. I think there's more to the story too. I talked to the person that did the story, and there was more to write that involved some prostitution as well.
Oh,
So
well,
that brings us, yeah, that brings us to the end of the readings.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry for having to read. Was that painful, Jesse?
Oh,
hear me read?
fine. I don't usually get to hear this show. I'm usually out in the lobby or something. So now I know what I've been missing.
Right. All right, everyone. So that brings us kind of to the reveal spot of the show. Not kind of. It actually brings us to the reveal portion of the show. What I would like you to do, we're going to say the name of the story. That last story was named, what did we name it? Oh, we just called it Jesus H. Crackers. That's what we're going to call that one, Jesus H. Crackers. But what we'll do, we'll say the name of the story, and then we want you to mash the button saying yes or no, shout it out in the comments. So we're going to go ahead and start with Sandy Crack Derby. That was the first story. Who do you think did that one? Do you think it was Skip Bacon, May Flores, Tristan Allen, Stephen Ferris, Lolita D, or John Ross? Who do you think? We'll give you 5 seconds to just type all that shit in. Who do you think it is? Who do you think it was? Oh my God, the suspense is building.
I was gonna guess everybody, but then you gave me the thing here with actually the list of who everybody did it. I would have guessed this one anyway.
All right.
But waiting to see if we get any response.
The Sandy Crack Derby was this guy. Hey, not the baby. I could blame it. I mean, the sins of the father do.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's me with the mustache a couple years ago. All right, so yeah, I'm the one. I dumped sand down the crack of a mentally disabled person. I was like 6. He kicked my ass the next year, by the way. But yeah, and I also hit balls into a neighborhood and maybe killed someone. Don't know. Statute of limitation, I think. Anyway, let's go to the next story. The one about the jacking off at the video game character, the Patra. Who do we think that was? Do we think it was Skip Bacon, May Flores, Tristan Allen, Stephen Ferris, or Lolita D? What do we think? What do you think, Jesse? What's your guess?
I've got a guess. I don't know that I went through the rest of these, so I think I can actually guess.
Yep.
I mean, I'm going with Tristan.
All right, let's do the drum roll. And the guy that did that, or the person that did that was Tristan.
Oh, hey,
Hello.
look at me. Yeah.
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 Very good.
Just process of elimination. I think I've got everybody pegged. I
Yeah.
don't wanna be too cocky, but I think I'm 6 for 6.
This next one surprised me a little bit. The next story was the killing of the owl. Again, I want you guys voting on this. Who do you think it was? Type their name in, scream it at your cat, do whatever you want. Just participate in this part. Was it Skip Bacon, May Flores, Stephen Ferris, or Lolita D?
Yeah.
What's your guess, Jesse? What's your guess?
I think that was May.
All right.
Just elimination.
Really? Seem like an owl killer?
Well, I mean, I'm just thinking of the other stories, and I'm whittling it down, and I think I would go with May.
All right. Well, the person that shot and killed an owl with a slingshot is May.
Hey.
Hello.
Yay, but terrible.
Right.
Yay for me, boo, shame on you. But
Terrible.
I'm crushing it, and I don't mean an owl's face.
All right. Owls are scary, though. It is true. That is true. So the next story that we had, the high leading the blind. I believe that was the one with the person in India who robbed a blind person of his weed because he was a dick, right? That was that story.
Yeah.
Do we think that was Skip Bacon, Stephen Ferris, or Lolita D?
Yeah, there
What
we
do we
are.
think? What do
Yeah.
we think? What do we think?
Yeah,
Go ahead
that's.
and smash that name in the thing.
I mean, I want to let other people vote, but I'm gonna take a victory lap on this 6 for 6, and it's just gonna be, I earned it. I earned it, I think. So.
Yeah. Yeah. You've been there 13, 14 hours, right?
Yeah, something we're
right,
coming up
well,
on there.
Let's go ahead and reveal that one.
That's-
The person that robbed the dude, the blind guy. Very good, Jesse.
Yeah.
Lolita
Yep.
D. Lolita D. All right. This next one, Taqueria Camp Go. That place is fucking amazing. Taqueria Cancun. It's right there on the Mission. So good. Their super tacos are amazing. The writer was correct to not kick that girl out of his car for not being able to go. It's a great place that we can't visit right now,
Well,
but it's
yeah.
fucking delicious. Who do we think that was? Do we think that was either Steve Ferris or Skip Bacon? Who do we think did that one? Who do we think? I mean, this is getting pretty easy now.
I mean, it's down to it. Yeah. Anybody?
All right.
All
Well,
right.
let's fucking reveal. Who do
Yeah.
you guys think it is out in the? Maybe we shouldn't have revealed them all. Maybe we should have revealed them all at the same time. I don't know.
That's all right. This is the way the
fuck
show
it.
generally works. So this is how it goes.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's reveal that beautiful person, Steve Ferris.
Yeah.
Stephen Ferris.
There he is.
There he is, Stephen. Sorry for using that picture, Stephen. Very sorry. Well, that leaves us with our final Jesus H. Crackers. Wow.
Yeah.
A master's degree from Notre Dame. All on the backs of, underage sex. I guess it sort of makes sense. One way or the other.
Yeah.
What? I don't know. So the person that did that is our very own host of our Thursday night
Yeah.
social distancing comedy showcase, Skip Bacon. Skip Bacon.
No judgment.
She did it. She did that. You could look at her with judgment.
Not
Very
judgment.
fun.
Things happen.
Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for participating. All the readers, all the writers for divulging all this information online that we're going to share and keep you from ever becoming president of any company, really. Not even the United States. You probably will lose your jobs. But thank you for sacrificing and being vulnerable. That's what sells these days. Yeah, if you want to, again, everyone that's watching the show, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're enjoying all the casts that we're doing here from Stab Comedy Theater. If you go right above me, if you would like to donate to our theater at Stab Theater on Venmo, you're more than welcome to. Again, we usually charge about $5 to $7 for a lot of our shows. So if you want to give to us, that would be fucking great. So we could kind of maintain and get through this thing without shutting down.
Yeah.
And if you want to visit all the readers, performers that you saw this evening, again, you can go to our Instagram and check that out. They are all tagged in our story, and follow up with them, support their comedy, say hi to them, let them know that you like their story. All right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, am I done here, Jesse? Or can I
pretty
go?
much. Yeah. I mean, you're going to be here tomorrow
I will. Yes.
for.
All righty.
You're going to be here tomorrow
Well, what if-
for.
What's
What
that?
are you going to be here tomorrow for?
I'm going to be here tomorrow for the social. Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
That's all right.
The social distancing comedy showcase. We actually need a few more comics for that. We've had people submitting. If you would like to participate in that, if you've never done stand-up comedy before, what a great way to do it.
Yeah.
Without feeling the harsh judgment of drunk strangers. You could just video yourself in a cabinet like this, doing 5 minutes of your best material, and then go ahead and you could send it to us at socialdistancingcomedy@gmail.com, or you could just send it to our Facebook page right there in a messenger. That works too. It comes out as an MP4. We found out it works. Now we don't have to go through all this uploading and stuff. But if you want to participate in it, please have your videos to us by noon-ish tomorrow, and include your Venmo and include your Twitter handle as well. And then we'll get that going. The open mic starts at, I believe, 8 o'clock
8 o'clock.
tomorrow night. and runs about an hour, hour and a half, and I'll be back there hosting it, hopefully with a different shirt.
Alrighty. Well then, yeah. Thank you, John, for coming home from or coming in from the pantry.
Yes.
Thank you all. I'm seeing some faces that were here this morning. That's awesome. Or I mean, faces by faces, I mean screen names. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in for the long slog that has been Stab's Sunday programming. We're adding more shows all the time. We're doing as much as we can while you're stuck at home, and we are barely legally allowed to come here. So we're going to keep doing this. It's going to keep being fun. Tomorrow, social distancing stand-up showcase. Monday and Tuesday, we've got the Stab Scars reruns of the Davis shows that we recorded a long time ago. And then the NPG or NPC guys will be back in here recording Wednesday, maybe, doing their role-playing podcast. So yeah, that's all been. No, that hasn't been scrolling. I don't know what's been scrolling. Thank you guys for coming or logging in and sharing your time in isolation and captivity with us. Yeah. We done? Yeah, John? Yeah.
That's it.
All right.
Huh?
All
I
right.
just farted. Sorry.
Oh, well, when do you
You're-
not?
Sorry.
So, all right.
I'm
We'll
close
see.
to food.
We'll see you guys soon. Or not. We'll see your screen names. Again, you know what? I'm going to go home. It's been a long time. Good night, everybody.
Good to know. Bye. Cool.
Yeah, just holding here for a second. And then I'll stop it proper. Thanks
All
for
right.
coming out, everybody. I'm just going to stop now. We don't need the extra padding.